You know, Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 1 to 10. So we call it as the most sincere learning destination because we try harder. Okay, so let us find out what we generally get in the Swiflearn classes. So all the classes in Swiflearn are 100% live and interactive classes. Over here, you can ask any sort of doubt, any confusion regarding the topic in the classes only, and the teachers will be able to make out all the doubts clear in the classes only. Fine. Now, secondly, we give personalized attention to each and every students of our batches because our batches consist of maximum number of 6 students in Swiflearn. Okay, so it also help us to keep an eye on you, how you are doing, how you are improving, where you are lagging. So we can also get back to you, and you can ask any sort of doubt in the classes only. There will be no chaos at all, right? Okay. Now coming to the third feature which we have in Swiflearn, that is the most dedicated academic mentor team which we have, who continuously keep a track on the students' progress. So how you are doing the homework, how you are performing in the classroom, how you are doing all the topics, how you are doing the learning all the topics properly in the classes, as well as how you are giving the examination. Everything is tracked by our academic mentor team, and they will give you the feedback in different time intervals so that you can improve yourself, right? And the last thing which we have that is very important, that is we cover the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. So whatever topic you have in your school exam, you can tell us. We generally handle this type of custom request. So we will go to all those topic first, and then we will move on to the rest of the topics. So these are the main general feature of Swiflearn which we have, and let us find out what are the key features. We have certain key features, that is one of it is very important, that is a detailed progress report which we maintain for each and every student. So accordingly we give you this detailed progress report, and we also have the PTM with the parents, so that you will be able to understand where you are lagging, where you need more focus on, in which topic you will have to improve, and accordingly you will act, right? Secondly, we have the Swiflearn Academic Test Series, which in short we call as the SATs, where you can perform and you will be able to understand where you are ranking internationally. Okay, now coming to the third thing, which is we have a lot of practice tests. Okay, so after completing each and every topic for all the subjects, you can take unlimited practice test. You can practice all the question answers again and again so that you can get good marks in the school exam as well as the board examination, right? So over here actually the practice test consists of the various types of question. It can be the objective type as well as the subjective type. The objective question generally have, it can be like the MCQs or the filling the blanks or the true false, match the column, one word, one sentence. These type of objectives are there. And also we have the subjective test for all your school examination. So before going to the school examination or the board examination, you should be very careful about the answers what you are writing, right? Sometimes क्या होता है कि you already know the concept and everything is clear in your head, but you are not giving certain key points or key words are missing in your answer, and that is why you are not getting the full marks, right? As well as the diagrams and the graph or the chemical equation for the different subjects, right? So these are very much important, so you can write down the answer, and we have a very good strong mm, teacher group of teacher where we will check your answer, and we will be able to give you the tips where you need the improvement, how to write the answer, where you need to give the diagrams, everything, and accordingly you can write, you can improve your answer and produce it in your board exam and the school exam, and you will get full marks, right? So these are the features, key features which we have in Swiflearn. So to experience all these features, what you have to do, book a free trial class. Okay, so all the trial class over here are free of cost, so you can book anytime, and you will be able to experience all of these features, and you will be able to learn with us, right? So please stay with Swiflearn, as you already have done this. Most of you have, I already know, who have not done this, please subscribe our channel in YouTube and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions of Swiflearn. Okay, so please stay with Swiflearn, like, comment, and share with your friends and the family members. Right? Okay, now let us move on to the topic. So, as I have already said, that today we will start with a new topic, and our topic of discussion is reaching the age of adolescence. It is a topic which we have in class 8 CBSE board, right? So, as you already know, that you were in the class 8th and you were in the stage of adolescence, right? So, just list down what are the changes you were having, and you can write it in the chat box. Fine. So, we will study mainly in this topic that what are the different changes which can take place during this period of time, right? This period of lifespan. So, this age of the lifespan is known as the adolescence. So, mainly we will focus on the two main words of this chapter, that is adolescence and puberty. So most of the time there is a tendency of the students for to mix up the words of the adolescence and puberty, and they think that both of them are same. Actually not, they are different words and they have some different definition. We will find out what are they actually is. Okay, then we will study about what are the different changes which takes place during this period. Okay, during this puberty time, what are the different changes, what are the different physical changes as well as the mental changes or emotional changes, as well as the different types of development. We can see the intelligence, okay, so develop this in this time period, right? So we will study all of them, and we will study about the development of the sex organs, right? So these are the different things which we will study in today's session. Chalo. So let us find out what is the need of these changes, or what are the different changes which takes place in the puberty, and why does this all the different changes happen. You have already gone through the chapter of reproduction, I guess, right? You have already studied that there are mainly two types of reproduction. One is the sexual reproduction, another one is the asexual reproduction, right? So both the types of reproduction takes place in both the plants and animals, right? Now, sexual reproduction takes place in plants, mainly the flowering plants, and the sexual reproduction takes place in the higher groups of animals also. So mainly we will focus on the sexual reproduction in this chapter. Okay, so how the human and the animals generally reproduce around you, whatever you see, they generally reproduce with the help of the process of sexual reproduction, right? Now, can they reproduce at any stage of their development? Say it they that they have just born, okay, and they are very much child and they are not at all grown up, or they have not gone to that type of maturity or that type of adult. They are not. So will they be able to reproduce? No. So they become capable of the process of reproduction after a certain age only, and that is the age of the adolescence, after which the individual will become adult, and then they will be able to they will be capable of the process of reproduction. So we will study all these things in this chapter. So now let us see, in this picture you can see over here that it is starting from our lives, actually start from the very small baby after the birth, and then childhood comes, then the period of this adolescence come, then the finally the adulthood, and after that old age comes, right? So these are the different stages of our life, right? So what changes in the human body occur which makes him or her capable of this reproduction? Have you ever thought of it? Like if I think about the very newborn baby, okay, so he or she is very small, but their reproductive systems are totally, completely present within them, but they are not matured. Okay, and obviously, from the very small baby or just after taking the birth, they will not be able to produce the egg in case of the female. Okay, even if they have many hundreds and hundreds of immature eggs within their ovary, but they will not be able to produce the egg, mature egg. Okay, as well as in case of the male, what will happen, they will not be able to produce the sperm, that is the male gamete, right? This male gamete and the female gamete are very much important for the process of sexual reproduction, because as you have already know that the main two characteristic feature of the sexual reproduction are, first of all, there are the two parents which are needed, right? because the two parents will be able to produce the two different types of gametes, and the second one is the fusion of the gametes, right? The fusion of the male and the female gametes will happen, and that process is known as fertilization, and they will produce the zygote, that is the very first cell of a new individual, right? So this much of knowledge you already have, because you have already gone through the chapter of reproduction before, right? So we will mainly focus on how this reproductive system will get mature during the during the stage of the life, that is the adolescence. We will mainly study all these changes in this chapter. Clear? Okay. Now, first we will come to know what do you mean by adolescence. So this word adolescence have the meaning, that is, it is a period of life when the body undergoes various types of changes leading to the reproductive maturity. So just after overcoming this period of life, then only the human being or any other animal, it can be any other animal also, not only the human being, will be able to capable of reproduction. Fine. Before that, the maturity of the sex organs or the reproductive system will not be there, and they will not be able to reproduce. That's why. Okay. So generally, this adolescence period begin around the age of 11, and it lasts till the age of 19 and 20. Okay. So this age is also known as the teenager. Do you know why? Because this age group generally starts from like 12, 13. So 10, 13 to it will continue till 18 to 19. Okay, so as this 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 is there, this age group together we call it as the teenagers, or this actually known as the teenage. Okay, so in the girls generally what happened, the adolescence begin a little bit earlier than the boys. It can be 1 or 2 years earlier than the boys. Fine. So this is all about the adolescence, its definition, and the time period, the time of the time period of the lifespan when we call the age as the adolescent period or the teenager. Okay, now in one person it can start just at the age of 13, or it can start in other person at the age of 15 or 16 also. So basically this type of this adolescence period varies from one person to another. So if you think that there is no changes or there is no development of the proper different types of organs in your body is happening, so don't worry. So it is normal that it sometimes happen very slowly, and it can start from a very early age, but in some other cases it can start from a later age, and it can like grow very faster. The changes can be very faster. So both of these are very normal. It actually varies from one person to another. Clear hai? Now, coming to the second most important word, that is puberty. Don't mix up the adolescence with puberty. I'm telling it to you again and again. Okay. So, what do you mean by then puberty? Puberty is the process of the physical changes through the child's body which mature into the adult body. And then they will be able to reproduce, or they will be capable of the sexual reproduction, right? So the time period or the age is known as the adolescence, and the physical changes during that age is known as the puberty. So be very careful while writing the definition of adolescence and puberty. Both of them are not same. Adolescence is the period of the lifespan, okay, the period of the a certain period of the lifespan, and puberty is the different physical changes which are occurring for becoming mature of an individual. So I guess this much is clear to all of you. Yeah. So when the puberty ends, it can end a little bit earlier also, or a little bit later also, when an adolescent reaches the total maturity of the reproductive system. Clear? Eh? Yes. Okay. Now you might have noticed around you in yourself or your friends that they like go through a lot of changes, which can be the physical change, which can be the psychological change, which can be the emotional change. Sometimes they become very much conscious about themselves. They cannot mix with the other friends. They cannot share everything with their parents or their teacher or their friends also. Sometimes they feel very alone. Sometimes they feel like nothing is going to happen, or sometimes they feel that they are in the top of the world and they can achieve everything, right? So these are the different types of changes which can happen during this adolescence period, right? And let us move on to the physical changes. Again, another variety of changes takes place both in the boys as well as the girls. We can see like the pimples comes out, they are becoming so much muscular. Okay, so the menstruation system starts working over there. So these are the different bodily changes or the physical changes which we can observe during this time period of time, right? So let us find out what are the physical changes which takes place during this puberty. So the first change we can see over here is the dramatic increase in the height, right? So both in case of the male and female, we can see that the bones of the arms and legs are elongating too much and make the person tall. So this abrupt change we generally see during this puberty, right? And both the girls and the boys reach to their maximum amount of height by the age of 18, or sometimes in case of the boys it can delay till 19 to 20. Okay, so don't worry again. So it depends upon, or it varies from one person to another, the increase of the height also. Now let us find out, will you be able to predict your maximum height from now? Whatever age group you are now, like it can be of 12th or 13th years of age, or 14th year of age, will you be able to find out or calculate what will be your maximum height? Yes, we can calculate. Let us find out how. It is very interesting. Okay, chalo. So this is the chart which will tell you the percentage of the full height. Okay, so here we can see in the chart that the age groups are there. So your ages can be 8 years, 9 years, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 to 18 years of age is there, right? And then we are moving to the percentage of the full height. So it is a bit different in case of the boys and the girls. We can see over here that the girls become very much taller abruptly or very fastly, but in case of the boys it is a little bit slower, right? But at the age of 18 we can find out they will go to the maximum height, right? That is 100% of their height. Now, how we will be able to measure our maximum height from now, from this age? What you have to do, you have to take your present height. Okay, you can measure your present height. Then you have to divide it with the percentage of the full height at that age. For example, if you are in the age of 13, let's say, okay, so if you are a boy, then the percentage of your full height age will be 88%, and if you are a girl, then the percentage will be 95%. So whatever your height is now, then you will divide it with 88 or 95%, depending upon you are a boy or a girl, right? And then you have to multiply it with 100. Okay, so this is how we can find out or calculate our full height. Hi Advaith, how are you? Okay, so let us find out with the help of an example. Over here, one sum is given. Let's see what is it saying. A boy is 9 years of old, and 120 centimeter is the height now. That is the present height. So at the end of the growth, what will be the maximum height? At the age of 18 or 19, what will be the maximum height? How will you find it? Yes, so let's go back and let us see what is the age of the what is the percentage of the full height that at the age of 9, that is 75%, right? Okay, and it's a boy, so 75% we will take. So 120 centimeter is the present height, divided by 75 we have to do, that is the percentage of the height, and into 100. Then we will be able to see 160 centimeter is the expected height of the boy at the age of 18. Okay, that will be the maximum height of the boy. Fine. Up to this much clear? So you will be able to measure your maximum height now, right? So measure your present height. Then you have already got the chart of the boys and girls. What is the percentage of the height? And multiply it with 100 and you will find out your maximum height. Okay? Chalo. Let's now find out the rate of growth of the height, which will again vary from one person to another. If you see that your friend is growing too fast, he or she is too taller, and you are not that much taller, you are like you are staying in the same height at sure, don't worry, you will also grow, you will also grow in height, your height will also increase. Okay, so it varies from one person to another, so it's totally normal, right? So some may grow suddenly at the puberty and then slow down, and we can say some of you can grow gradually. Thoda thoda karke you will get all the different changes. So don't worry in both the cases, right? Chalo. Now let's move on to the other different changes in the body or the other different physical changes. First of all, the changes occur in the adolescence of the boys and the girls are uh, very much different, right? So in the boys, we can see over here the muscular growth is very much prominent than the girls. So in case of the girls, the hip girdle generally broaden than the shoulder girdle, but in case of boys, we can see the shoulder girdle will broaden than the hip girdle, right? And also we can find out the different types of changes like the growing of the beard, the mustache, and the change of the voice. So these are all the different changes in case of the boys. And in case of the girls, we can see the different bodily changes like the breast development takes place, the waist or the hip portion becomes very much defined and broaden up. So these are, and also the shrillness of the voice which comes in the girls. So these are the different changes which we can see in the girls. And in case of the boys, we have already said that the shoulder will become broadened, then they will have a muscular arm, muscular legs, they grow faster, hand and legs grow faster, right? So these are the some of the differences in their physical changes in the period of adolescence. Fine. Now there are certain different other changes also which we can see which takes place in both boys and the girls, which can be the pubic hair growth of the axillary hair and the pubic hair, right? And let us now find, and obviously the height also change in both the cases, in both girls and boys. Now let us move on to the third type of change, that is the voice change. Have you ever heard the voice of the adult boy or means adult man or the adult women and the children? Yes. Is there any change in the voice? Yes. Generally the boys develop their deep voice, right? The deep voice is there, and because of the large voice box. Okay, the voice box becomes growing, it is growing, that is the larynx, so which we call in the biological term. So they grow, and accordingly the muscles also which are associated with the voice box or the larynx also grow, and accordingly they will change their voice. Fine. But in case of the girls, the larynx is hardly visible from outside, we will not be able to see, and the growth of the voice box is very small. Okay, very little, and that is why the voice of the women or the voice of the girls are shrill or high pitched voice, right? Okay. Now, from outside also we can see the larynx of the human being, the human boys. Have you ever noticed it? The protruding part from the throat region in case of the boys, which we call as the Adam's apple. Okay, so this is nothing but due to the growth of the voice box or growth of the larynx. Okay, so up to this much clear. So due to the rapid growth of the voice box, the boys get a very deep voice, and the voice box will not grow in that rapidly in case of the girls, and that is why the pitch of the voice is very high pitch or a shrill voice is there in case of the girls. right? Up to this much clear, I guess. If you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. So, have you ever noticed a different type of voice other than this deep voice, the perfect permanent deep voice, or the shrill voice? That can be the hoarse voice which generally we see during the boys, during the adolescent period in the boys. Have you ever noticed it? It generally remain for 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe at the maximum 1 month. Yes. Do you know why it happens? Yes. Any idea? It happens due to the muscles which are associated with the voice box go out of control and it becomes a hoarse voice. Fine. So this hoarse voice is produced by the boys because when the voice box is growing, the muscles which are associated with the voice box also grow, and when they are becoming out of control, they produce a different type of voice that is a very hoarse voice, right? But this voice generally stay for a few days, or you can say a few weeks. After that, the voice becomes normal and the deep voice comes normally. Fine. So these are the different changes in the voice we have already studied, right? If you have any question, you can ask me. Now coming to the next change during the puberty, that is the increased activity of the different glands. So these glands are generally the exocrine gland. So in this chapter, in the later session, we will discuss about the endocrine gland and the exocrine gland. So over here, the sweat gland and the sebaceous gland are both the exocrine gland because they are having the ducts. Okay, so through the ducts the secretion is coming out. Fine. So what are the secretion? Over here, the sebaceous gland is also known as the oil gland, and they secrete the sebum, or which we call as the oil simply. And the sweat gland generally produce the sweat, right? So you have already seen this way. Sometimes you feel that your face becoming so much oily, right? This is because of the production of the sebum or production of the oil, right? And obviously you have faced the sweat during the summer days very much, right? So during this period, during this puberty or the adolescence period, we can see over here the sweating takes place, or the secretion of the oil takes place very in a large amount, right? So the secretion of the sweat gland and the sebaceous gland increases during this time, and that is why what we get, sometimes we get the pimples, the acne, right? So we get the different pimples or acne sometimes on the face due to the production of large amount of oil or the sebum, okay, from the sebaceous gland. So, because of this activity of these glands with the skin, they can form the different bumps or the bumpy pupils on the skin. So, this is again another change which we have during the puberty. So, whoever is facing these types of problems, don't uh, panic or don't fear about it, because these are very normal, and this all actually takes place due to the maturity and the production of the different types of hormones within our body. Fine. So uh, if there is the different pimples or the acne is coming out from your skin, so you will you will be able to understand from now that certain different physical changes are taking place within your body due to the adolescence or due to the puberty. That means you were growing and you were becoming matured, right? Up to this much clear? Okay, now we have already read that the reproductive organs in the male and the female have the different parts and they grow differently, right? What is the main or primary organ of the female reproductive system? It is the one pair of ovary which is present in the right ovary and the left ovary, right? In their they are present in the lower abdominal region of the right side and the left side. And what are the main different parts of the male reproductive system? Mainly is the testis, where the sperms are produced, and the penis, right? So the development of all these sex organs, whether it is the penis or the testis or the ovary, and the production of the different gametes, like the matured eggs are produced from the ovaries and the mature sperms are produced from the testis. So all this development and the production of these gametes takes place during this puberty. Clear hai up to this much? Yeah. Okay. Now, So, whatever we have discussed till now were all the physical changes or the bodily changes. Right now, we will mainly focus on what are the different mental changes or intellectual or the emotional maturity takes place during this uh, adolescence, right? So as you already know that adolescence is also a period of change in person's way of thinking. So in this period you generally think a lot about a future. You are mostly worried about the future, what will happen, which subject to focus on, which subject to take for and go with the career, because this is very crucial time for thinking about your career, right? Yeah, very important. Okay, then sometimes you can feel very lonely. Sometimes you cannot mix up that much uh, with everyone, है ना? You try to avoid the social gatherings. Sometimes you want to stay with your group of friends only, do not want to mix with the other friends or other groups. You want to stay with your groups. Then you cannot share everything with your brother or sister or your family members or the parents sometimes, right? Or even if you're with your friends also. And there is a huge tendency of this period to go get into the wrong way, right? Like the smoking or the drinking, they can take place, or they can start testing all these things which can make a very harmful effect on your life later on in the future. Okay, so try to avoid all these things and don't be worried. Don't worry, these are all the different phases of life. You will go through it and then you will become mature, and then you will be able to see that the life is very simple. Okay, now coming to the emotional and different uh, like thinking capacity, what you face generally in this period. So you feel like more independent, right? Sometimes you become very much self conscious about yourself. You think about everything. Then the brain has the greatest capacity for learning in this period. So try to understand this. This is very important, because as the brain is having this greatest capacity for learning, so learning is obviously a part of the life. So this is the crucial period where you will come to know about various types of subjects, various topics you will come to know. So be very careful to give the focus on your studies, right? So whatever you are studying now, it will keep in your mind forever. Believe me, it will stay within your mind forever. So be focused on your studies this time. Okay, so an adolescents may feel insecure some of the time. I have already mentioned these things. So they try to adjust with one another, they try to adjust with the bodily changes or the changes of their mind also. Sometimes they can also like they can also feel like nobody is there for them, nobody will be able to help them. So these are all the different types of insecurity which can come. So don't worry, these are very normal and natural. Or mood swings may come also, like sometimes you can feel that you are the happiest person of the world, and sometimes just the next moment you can feel that you were not that much happy, and you have like you have fallen from a like huge thing, right? So these are the different normal changes, these are very natural. Okay, so this all happen due to the different changes which are taking place, as well as the production of the different hormones which are taking place from the endocrine glands in your body, right? So don't worry, and like go through this chapter. This is very important chapter in your age group, and let us now find out the question answer, right? Okay, now, my first question is, what is the period of adolescence? Hi, Elon. Hi, Paridhi. Okay. So, can you define the period of adolescence? This is the period where which varies from person to person, which starts from the age group of 11 or 12, and it will continue till 18 to 19. Okay. Okay. Now, coming to the another definition, that is puberty. So already I have told you that don't mix up the adolescence and the puberty. Both of them are the different words having the different meanings. So what do you mean by puberty now? Yes, these are the different physical changes which takes place within the child's body when the body becomes mature and capable of reproduction. Clear? Eh? Okay. Now let's move on to the third question, which is very important and a case-based question. Okay. So over here it's given like Sia had a very soft and smooth skin during her childhood. As she entered adolescence, she developed pimples on her face. Her body became taller compared to the face. Sometimes it happened that the body becomes taller, the arms and the legs become very much taller, but uh, compared to the face remain for a period of time uh, in the same size, right? So she got worried of all the sudden changes of his physical changes or the bodily changes, right? Now, her mother explained that all these changes are normal and advised her to wash her face at regular intervals. Okay, now let us move on to the questions. Why Sia's mother advised Sia to wash her face at regular interval? Why do you think so? Yes. Why do you think that washing of the face is very important? Because of the oil gland, the secretion of the oil gland, which makes the skin oily. If you wash it again and again, it will make your face dry, and there will be less tendency of having the pimples and acne on the face, right? Okay. Now let us find out the second question. What is the reason for appearance of pimples on her face? So, as I have already mentioned, that the pimples come out due to the huge secretion of the sebaceous gland and the sweat gland, right? So, when they come in contact with the skin, they form the small bumps, the acne and the pimples, right? Because Sia is in the age of adolescence. Okay. Now coming to why Sia experienced disproportionate growth of the body. Again, it is very normal that all the time the growth of the arms, the legs and the body, the whole body or the face together is not possible during this adolescence period. It does not cannot happen um, s- uh, exactly at the same time always. Okay, so this disproportionate growth of the body is very normal, and later on you will be able to find out that all the parts of the body will be equal, right? It will be like uh, proportionate, not equal, definitely the proportionate. Okay, at the age end of the adolescence. Now coming to what values do we get from this? What are the different values we can get from here? We should get over here that we should not be worried about the different changes during this adolescence period. These are very normal, very natural, and we have to cope up with this. We have to be like take care of ourselves. Proper care, hygiene and the diet is very important during this period. So these are the different changes or the different points which we have to keep it in our mind, and we should not get very much worried, or we should not lose our self esteem, right? Okay, so let us tell you some of the facts which happen during this puberty and the, or we can say, the adolescence period. So the hormones control the puberty, as we already know that the hormones are secreted from the different endocrine glands, right? So these hormones affect our feeling as well as our body. So during this puberty, emotions may become very stronger and more intense. So it's common to go through the mood swing when we can feel that the feelings can change quickly and randomly. Okay, so how it can be can happen, the puberty can be a very confusing time in your life, and your emotion may seem like they are out of control sometime. Okay, so don't worry. One minute you can feel like you were at the top of the world, and the second moment you will feel that you were down in the dumps. So don't worry, these are very natural, and these are all happening due to the changes of the hormones in our body, which are secreted from the different endocrine glands, right? So we will focus and we will study more about these hormones and the endocrine glands and the other different changes which takes place in this adolescence period in the next class. Okay, in the next session. So let us find out what we have studied today. Today mainly we have come to know about the adolescence and the puberty, and we have studied about the different changes during this age group or different changes during this puberty, right? So that's all for today's session. If you have any question, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay. If you have any confusion, I feel that you have already understood this, whatever we have discussed, right? So thank you for being with me, being with Swiflearn. So let me remind you again what you have to do. Please subscribe our channel in YouTube, press the bell icon, and never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions. Okay, so please be with Swiflearn, be with us. Like, comment, and share with all your friends and family members, and then we will again meet in the next session. So till then, bye bye.